Yo, this is Mikhail, the idea shift. I bless the mic because I got something to say. I rock headphones because I'm listening twice as much as I talk. And I'm only responding to this because I think it has something to do with the Blue Room. So I'm going to respond to the John Morant fiasco, just give you my take on it, only because on the Blue Room, I am trying to help men grow in all the areas that matter because I'm challenging men by challenging their thinking, by cultivating their spiritual, emotional health, and challenging them in the areas of mental health, money, marriage, and family. So I'm only commenting because I've been seeing a lot of commentary on this John Morant situation. And as a black man, 48 years old, I just want to weigh in on it. And you can give me your comments in the comment section and you can blast me, whatever you want to do. But I want to give my commentary on this because I think it's important that we have some perspective on a situation like this. Okay, so everybody knows who John Moran is. If you click this, you know who he is. He has one of the most promising basketball careers in the NBA right now, and his trajectory is limitless. I mean, dude can flat out ball, but he's had a couple of incidents with guns and just things acting unseemly, and a lot of people are attributing it to him being young and him being rich, and I don't even want to deal with that part of it. I don't want to deal with John Morant's character because everybody gets in a weak season, everybody makes bad decisions, and all of us have made bad choices. So this video is not actually about John Morant, but I think it's the reactions to John Morant, the reactions to the situation that make me want to chime in. So I just want to deal with three issues. And these three issues are accountability, the race card, and the system versus us as black people. That's accountability, the race card, and the system versus us. Now, I want to talk about this because a lot of times when things happen in the United States of America, as a black man, these are usually the 3 points that I see other black people bringing up because we live in a time where everything is colorized, everything is made racial. So I first want to deal with this accountability. Now, John Morant is a young, rich, affluent, successful black man. I don't want to get into who he is personally because to me it's irrelevant in this situation about who he is personally. But accountability, when are we going to hold ourselves accountable for the actions that we take? We always find reasons to not hold each other accountable. It's like when someone does something, we find excuses and we find reasons instead of just holding each other accountable. When I was raised, when my father was in the home, I got held accountable. When I went to the YMCA, men held me accountable, meaning I had to answer to a village for my actions. And I see in our society right now, especially in the black community, we have developed this victim mentality where we don't want to hold each other accountable. For some reason, we always find a way that we're a victim about something. We have to start holding ourselves accountable. We have to hold other men's feet to the fire for what they do, the choices they make, the actions we take. Meaning, we have to see what part we play in a situation. So, what part did Ja play in the situation? Ja has received disciplinary action from the NBA about the same situation on numerous occasions, maybe I think 4 or 5 situations, he's had similar situations happen. The last one cost him a lot of money. It got him suspended indefinitely. That got cleared up. Now he's done the same thing again. Now you can come up with justifications for it, but eventually somebody has to hold this young man accountable. Because if it might be people in his circle holding him accountable, and he's just not responding. I'm not going to assume his village is negligent, but obviously he's either making a conscious decision or making conscious choices to do these type of things, or he's lost control of something in his life and he has a hard time making the right choices because of impulsivity or some issue that's driving him to do this stuff. So men, I'm just saying, as men on the Blue Room, we hold each other accountable. We have to make sure, not just Ja, that we hold each other accountable. Like with the shorties in Chicago acting a fool, the mayor responds, we shouldn't demonize these children. Well, my question is, We're not demonizing them, but who's going to hold them accountable? The laws are not set up so that they can be held accountable anymore. I don't want to get into all that, but somebody has to say we need to hold them accountable for what they do and what they say, as well as I want people to hold me accountable, because without accountability, I'm just not going to grow. Point number two, the race car. Why is it that every single time something happens, we always figure out a way to make it racial? There are certain things we do, black men, that are wrong. I don't care if every Puerto Rican, every Arab, every Russian, the whitest man on the planet does the same thing. It's irrelevant to me how they are penalized or what those consequences are. My question is, why do we always pull the race card instead of holding each other accountable? Just because the white dude down the street did the same thing and got away does not mean I should be allowed to get away with the same thing. Again, I believe accountability is a gift. I'm not saying you crucify everybody who does something, but every time something happens, it's always a race card. It's because we're black. It's because some kind of way we're victimized. It's because of some kind of way we've been disenfranchised, or because of slavery, or because of poverty, or because the fathers are not there. Eventually, you guys, the race card is not going to work. I believe pulling the race card prevents us from holding each other accountable. Okay. I think the race card is overplayed, y'all. When you play spades, you only get so many cards. And I promise you, it's only one joker. It's only one deuce of spades. It's only one king, queen, jack of spades. We've overplayed the race card. And I think this race card prevents us from holding each other accountable at times. This is me talking. I'm representing myself right now. The third thing, it's always this system versus us mentality. What do I mean by this? The system versus us. So John Morant actually does something that's not smart. I didn't say it was illegal. You have to understand that according to the rules of the NBA, he broke a rule for his employer. Black man, if you work for somebody, there are rules you're going to have to follow. Okay. If you don't break the rules, then you don't have to have a conversation about the validity of the rule or why it exists. We have to understand it can't be the system versus us. The rule wasn't put in place for black people, it's in place for the white people in the NBA or the Europeans in the NBA. We have to understand it can't always be the system versus us. And the reason why I say that is because now I use the shorties in Chicago who were downtown beating up people and all of this stuff. The mayor says we shouldn't demonize these kids because we somehow view them as victims. So now, when a black man gets in trouble for something, instead of us holding each other accountable, we pull the race card and it's the system versus us now. So we don't hold each other accountable. We pull the race card and now it's the system versus us. Well, such and such got away with it and he was white. Such and such got away with it and he was blue or he was green. My question for you is this. My question for you is this. If you break a rule, what does it matter what happens to somebody else? Now, I'm not saying there are not things that are unfair, y'all. That is not what I'm saying. But when I talk to my son, I don't care if little Johnny, who was white, got away with it. I'm going to hold my son accountable for what he does. So, what I mean by the system versus us, what we do is we say, you know what? Hmm, I'm not going to hold these kids accountable because the white man did this. I'm not going to hold Ja accountable because the white player did this. I'm not going to hold my brother accountable because white people do this every day and we're not allowed to do this. My question is, well, when do we hold each other accountable? How do we grow? How do we improve? How do we change? Why is everything that happens, we have to dig something up from 30 years ago when something happened and a white man did this, but now a black person is doing, and now we fought. It's just not good thinking. On the Blue Room, we need to start holding each other accountable. We need to start saying, let's not demonize the kids for what they did, but can we please hold them accountable? Because it was stated that these kids come from bad neighborhoods. I come from a bad neighborhood. Okay. I come from the hood. Well, these kids didn't have their fathers in the home. I didn't have my father in my house like that either. but somebody had to hold me accountable because if I'm not held accountable, I think the way I behave is okay. And the only thing I have to say about the John Morant fiasco is not that John Morant is making mistakes. We're all going to make mistakes. My question is, who's going to hold them accountable? Because I bless this mic because I got something to say. I rock headphones because I'm listening twice as much as I talk. The Blue Room reaction is now over. Chime in and move your life, helping me and grow in all the areas that matter. The idea shifter is signing off.